Hey guys, it's Linda and welcome to Sew and Tell. I did a super cute DIY and I hope you guys love it just as much as I do. They are basically Pokemon characters on top of dad hats, and I used 3 different methods, so depending on which one you like the best or which one you have access to, you can pick whichever one you want to do. And all of the templates I use will be linked in the description box. All you have to do is leave a 0 in the price box and then it's completely free to download. But I do want to say thank you so much to everyone who has donated, because it helps me fund all of these videos and do more crafty projects. So thank you so much. I think that's it. If you guys have a question, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And then also make sure you give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you want to see more. For Charmander, you'll need the template, an orange hat, black, green, and white embroidery thread, an embroidery needle, scissors, an Exacto knife, and a pencil. Start by cutting away Charmander's face, but make sure you have something underneath so you're not scratching up your table. Cut away all of the extra paper and then trace the face onto the hat. For the details of the eyes, I cut away each layer and then trace them on individually. I'm starting with the green of the eyes and I'm just looping the thread through once and then tying a knot at one end. For the embroidery, I'm starting with a satin stitch and I'm basically going from one end to the other to cover the entire surface, and you want to start the next stitch right next to the previous one, but make sure you don't overlap them. To finish it off, push the last thread through to the back side and then tie a knot to seal it. For the whites, you're going to do the same thing, just fill them out to all of the pencil markings. After a little while, your fingers could start to hurt, so I would recommend using a thimble, and mine has a little rubber piece around it, so it's easier to grip the needle. Repeat the satin stitch for all of the whites, and don't forget about the teeth. For all of the line detailing, I'm using a back stitch, and it might be a little bit confusing at first, but after you make your initial stitch, you want to go over from the back side and leave a little bit of a gap in between the 2 stitches, and then from the top side you're going to fill in this gap and sew right next to that first stitch, and then continue this all the way across to finish off the line. To finish off the eyes, I'm using a satin stitch to fill in all of the black parts, and then I'm going back in with a back stitch to trim around the little white glare and then the borders of the eyes. Repeat for the other side and you are done. For Bulbasaur, you'll need the template, a teal hat, matching colored felt, tape, scissors, and a hot glue gun. To start, cut away his face on the template and then tape it onto a black piece of felt. The black is going to act as the base, so just trim out all of the pieces. Once all of the black pieces are cut out, separate all of the colored pieces onto the matching felt and then cut those out as well. Make sure to cut these a little bit smaller than the paper size so that when you put them onto the black pieces, you can see the black border. Once you are happy with how everything looks, take the glue gun and glue down all of the little pieces. Put all the pieces onto the hat and secure it with the hot glue gun. Cut away any extra fuzziness and you are done with Bulbasaur. For Jigglypuff, you'll need a template, a pink hat, white, black, and teal fabric paint, paintbrushes, a painting dish, an Exacto knife, and a pencil. Trim away the face with the Exacto knife, and for the eyes, I actually left 2 lines so that I could keep the centers attached, but this is super optional. You don't have to do it. You can always trace it back on later. I like doing this so that it could keep it in the exact position. Trim away all of the extra pieces and then trace the face onto the hat. I started with the white puppy paint, but instead of using the squeeze bottle, I like using a brush because I can control the thickness. It's going to take a few layers to get them completely opaque, and you could either wait for them to dry or be like me and use a blow dryer to speed up the process. Make sure it's completely dry before you move on to the blacks because you don't want to smear any of the paint. I'm using a tiny little brush to follow my pencil line with the black puffy paint. Lay the template back on and trace out the teal portion of the eyes. To create the gradient, I separated the teal 3 ways. The first one I added black to make it dark, the second one I left alone, and then the third one I added some white. I started with the darkest teal at the center and then worked my way towards the lightest teal, and make sure you're blending the paint as you go so it creates that gradient. Finish it off with the black puffy paint and do an outline around the eyes.